Hi everyone, welcome back to our part 2 of Smart AI Guide. Today we will be learning about the patrol states and how to switch between the states. Along with that, we are going to add an equip and unequip animation to our enemy AI. So without any further ado, let's get started. So you might have remembered that last time we did the basic movement and created a foundation for our enemy AI. So we got down the movement, we had it attack the player, chase the player as well. And now what we want is that we want to add a patrol state for our AI so that it patrols a certain area, a predetermined area, and then it switches to our attack or chasing state and then starts chasing and then attacking the player. So we are going to do that, but before that, you might remember that the AI on startup, it basically equips the axe, but we don't have any animation for that. For that, it just appears out of nowhere. So we are going to change that. We are going to add an animation. So I got an animation from Mixamo for that. It's basically this single animation, and this is just the equipping animation. What we are going to do for the unequip is that we will be changing the play rate for this animation. So right now it's at 1, right? So if we change it to -1, we can see that it's basically unequipping. So we are going to do that, but first let me just set it back to 1 again. And now I'm going to create a montage for this animation. So I will go to that animation, right click on that animation, and if you remember, then we are going to create an anim montage, and I'm going to call it montage underscore equip weapon. And then inside our PP enemy base, I'm going to create a custom task for that. I'm going to right click, I'm going to create a custom task named equip weapon. So I think we have already made a function for that, yeah, right? So we already have made a function for that. So we can just repurpose this function and add an animation to that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to drag from here play montage. This will be our mesh, and the montage will be the one that we just created. And on blend out or on interrupted, we are going to, so instead of setting it as hidden and unhidden, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to attach it to the enemy's hand or the back. So what I will do is that after this, basically I'm going to use this node called attach component to component. What it does is that it takes any scene component that we might have and it attaches it to another parent or any sort of component that we have in our scene. So I'm going to set our mesh as parent, and we are basically going to create 2 sockets for our enemy. So one of those sockets will be in the hand for attaching it to the hand, and one will be at the back of the enemy. So I'm going to go to the mesh, open it up. So we can see there's a lot of bones here. So I'm going to select our right hand first to attach it to our right hand. I'm going to scroll down and find hand. So we already have the weapon R socket, and Along with that, I'm going to make one socket for attaching it to the back of the enemy. So I'm going to create one on its spine 4. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a socket and call this socket weapon holster underscore socket. I'm going to just change the socket a bit, and to preview how the weapon looks when it's unequipped, I'm going to attach a preview asset. Also, to get the exact location for the weapon, I'm going to preview it along with the animation. So I'm going to use a specific animation. I'm going to set the drop down here and search equip, and we have our animation here. So I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to change it a bit so that the enemy basically equips the weapon perfectly from its back. And I will also be adding the same asset to the hand so that we can compare it. So I'm going to right click here, I'm going to add preview asset and search up axe. So we can see it's taking the axe somewhere from here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this socket again, the weapon holster socket, and I will try to align it as much as I can with the other socket. So somewhere around here. So that seems good enough. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to save this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to select our weapon mesh. This is going to be the target, and our socket name will be the one that we just made, that is weapon holster socket. I'm just going to copy that name from here so that I don't make any typos. And I'm going to snap to target and snap to target. Also, I'm just going to set our weapon mesh as visible so that we can see it from the beginning. Now along with that, I need to notify the task that the animation is completed. Only then will it move forward. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a delegate here and to call it on weapon equipped. And when this task is completed, I'm just going to call that here. Along with that, I want to attach the weapon when the hand is behind the enemy and not when the animation is over. So what I will do is that I will open the montage that I just made. So here it is, and I'm going to use something known as a montage notify. So what it will do is that it will notify the task when a certain point in the montage is reached. So let's say I'm going to equip it somewhere here. So here under this notifies timeline, I'm just going to right click here and add a notify called montage notify. And I'm going to call it weapon equipped. I'm just going to save that. And on notify begin, I'm going to call this and disconnect these two. One more thing I need to check is that if the weapon is previously attached to some other mesh or not. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to drag from the weapon mesh and search detach from component. So if it is previously attached to any other component, it's going to detach itself from there. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to set it as keep relative. Alright, and that seems okay. So I'm going to go to the viewport. I'm going to attach the weapon mesh to our weapon holster so that from the beginning it's behind the enemy and not in its hand. So I'm going to search this and search weapon holster socket. Now inside the task that we had made previously for equipping the weapon, I'm going to open that. I'm going to go inside enemy, then AI and BTT equip weapon. So instead of calling the finish execute here, I'm going to just call it when the delegate is fired. So I'm going to drag from here and I'm going to search assign on weapon equipped. And I'm going to attach it here. Now let's just give it a test. We are going to keep our behavior tree open on our right side, and I'm going to see if this works or not. Well, that works, but it doesn't attach itself to the hand, and I know why that is. So I'm going to just pause that, and I set the socket name as weapon holster socket, but it will be the other one, the weapon hand socket. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go down, so I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it here. Now if we test it, perfect. So that's the equipping task done. I'm going to make the unequipped task now. So it's going to be almost the same. I'm going to go inside enemy and I'm just going to copy this entire thing here and just create a custom task, custom event, and call it weapon unequip. And I'm also going to create another delegate called on weapon unequipped. And on completed, I'm going to call that. I'm going to set this as false. I'm going to obviously detach it, and then instead of weapon socket R, I'm going to use the other weapon socket, the holster socket. So I'm going to go here. I am going to copy this weapon socket name and paste it here. Now I also need to change the animation for this one, as I said. So what I'm going to do is that instead of making another animation, we can try one thing, and that will be if I set the play rate here as -1. So if I do that, the animation will be reversed, and if I play it from here, okay, so we need to obviously test that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open the behavior tree. Okay, it's somehow glitched out here, but it's alright. I'm just, instead of using this sequence, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a task firstly to unequip the weapon. So I will go under task, btt blueprint base, and call it btt underscore weapon unequip. So this is going to be our task, and it's almost the same as the weapon equip task. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to copy everything from here and paste it out here. And instead of weapon equip, what I'm going to do is also I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to call unequip weapon. Also I will assign on weapon unequipped. So here I'm going to attach that, and I'm going to attach this here, and that will unequip the weapon. So to test that out, I'm just going to call that task right now. So btt unequip. So what it will do right now is that it will just equip the weapon, then again unequip it. So I'm going to go here, and we are going to test this out. So it equips the weapon, right, and it doesn't unequip it. Well, let's see why. So I am going to just open this behavior tree right here. And let's play it here. So it equips the weapon, it goes here, this gets called, and what I think is happening is that this play rate of setting -1 here, it won't be working. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to create another animation montage. So I'm going to just go here, I'm going to set the play rate as 1 again. I'm going to go here, I am going to copy this one and create another montage, and I'm going to call that montage underscore weapon unequip weapon, and I'm just going to set the rate scale here to -1. So that will just reverse the entire animation. And one more thing, we need to add the notify as well. So under notifies, I'm going to right click, add notify, montage notify, and I'm just going to find the spot where it unequips the weapon. So right here, I'm going to set it here and call it weapon unequipped. I'm going to save that, and here I'm just going to use that montage. So I'm just going to go here and play it. Okay, so it gets stuck here again for some reason. I'm going to see why that is. So basically this gets called weapon unequip, which is here. The montage is played, and on completed the delegate is fired. So I do think that it is because of the delegate firing, so we are just going to place a breakpoint and test it out. So basically this is firing right in the beginning. Since the animation is reversed, it's starting from the end to the beginning, so the animation is getting completed in an instance. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to disconnect this, and I'm going to open the montage and add another notify and call it on montage complete. Or we can do something else, and wait, let me just delete this ones. So I found out where the issue was. Basically, since we are using the same animation, reversing the montage won't be working, since then the animation will be beginning from the end and this delegate will be called on completed anyways. So what we need to do is that we need to just copy the animation itself. So I'm just going to copy the animation and call it weapon unequip, and I'm going to create a montage for that animation instead of creating from the previous one. So I'm going to call it montage underscore weapon unequip, and inside this montage I'm going to add the notify again, so somewhere around here. Yeah, this seems alright. I'm going to add the notify, montage notify, and call it weapon unequip. Along with that, I'm going to change the play rate for the animation, not the montage but the animation, to -1 and save it. So if we check the montage now, it's reversed and it's not beginning from the end. So I'm going to use this montage now and it should work. So I'm just going to remove this breakpoint from here, and first it equips, then it unequips. So both our equipping and unequipping works fine. So I'm going to pause that, and let's move on to our next task, that will be creating a patrol route for our AI. So what it will do is that it's going to follow a certain predestined route and loop its way around that. So to do that, we are going to create an actor here inside enemy. I'm going to create a folder called actor, and inside that I'm going to create a blueprint class actor called bp underscore patrol route. I'm going to open that, and inside patrol route we are going to add a spline component. So we are going to add the spline component. Not keep in mind not to add the spline mesh. We are going to need the spline component, and I want to call it root here. I want to save that. So if we see, it's just a line here, but we can basically select this and alt drag from here to create a route for our AI. So let's say these are the points that we want the AI to move towards. So that is one point. Then we can go here, we can add some curve to that point using these two bars basically. So if I select that, so this is one point. We are going to add a few more points according to our wish, so we can basically add it anywhere in the map and the AI will move there. So one point is there, another point is there, and a final point here. So this is kind of a basic path that I just made. Now we can select this, and basically this will be the path that the AI will be following. Now inside patrol route we are going to have a few things. Basically first we need to remove all that, we don't need that. Next we will add a patrol index, and it will be of the type integer. What the index will hold is basically the current point at which the AI is right now. Along with that, I'm going to add another integer named direction. And direction will be basically either +1 if it is increasing, or -1 if it is going back the path. So I'm going to add a value range here from -1 to +1. Compile all that. And that should be the path done. Next, inside our enemy base, we need to have a reference of its path. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a variable here called patrol route, and additionally set it as patrol route itself. So I'm going to search BP patrol route, so BP underscore patrol route, and it will be of object reference. And I will also make it instance editable so that we can basically select it from the world. So I'm going to go here, and here if we scroll down we can find the variable we just created. It's patrol route, and we can just select on this dropper tool here, click on that, and then select our spline. So now this route is reference to the AI itself. So I'm going to go inside the AI, and here inside the route as well we are going to need a few functions that we will be using. Firstly, we are going to create a custom task. So I'm going to call it get patrol points. Okay, not get patrol points, I'm going to increase the patrol points when this task is called. So I'm going to call it increment patrol index. So this task is called when basically the enemy is moving and it reaches a patrol point, and then we need to increment the current index so that it moves to the next point. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the direction here, and along with that I'm going to get the patrol index as well, and to that I'm basically going to add the direction to the patrol index. So if it is moving forward, the patrol index will be increasing. So since direction is +1, so patrol index +1 will be basically the next index, and if it is moving backwards, then it's patrol index -1, so it will be moving behind, so the previous index. So I'm going to set that as the new patrol index right here, attach it here. And one more thing that we need to check is that whether the patrol index is 0 or not. So basically, if the patrol index has reached 0, that is, it is in the beginning, then we need to set direction as +1, and if it has reached the end, we need to set the direction as -1. So firstly, for +1, we need to see if it is equal to 0 or not. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to add a branch, and right here. And if it is at 0, we are going to set direction as +1. So here, and if it is false, then we are going to check if the direction is going to be -1 or not, that is, if it has reached the end or not. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get root here, I'm going to get number of spline points, and basically what it does is that it tells the number of spline points that the current spline has. So I'm going to -1 from that, and then I will compare it to our current patrol index. So I'm going to get patrol index, and we can just drag it from here. So we can just drag it from here and say equal to. So if it is equal to the number of spline points, then we are going to set the direction as -1. So again, this branch here, and I will set direction as -1. So this is the function for incrementing our patrol index or changing the patrol index, whatever we want to call it. And I will also create another function to get the current patrol point location. So I'm going to call it get world location from point, and it will have a return node which will return the location. So it will be a vector called location, so location vector. And what it will do is that it will get our root, and from that get location at spline point, and inside the index we are going to add the patrol index here and get coordinate space as world. So this will basically return the location. Now one more thing that we need to do is that since this enemy is going to have this patrol point functionality, we need to make sure that any other type of enemy also has that. So now what we need to do is that we need to create an interface. So instead of casting, we can just call that interface, and that interface is going to give us the root that is assigned to that enemy. So I'm just going to go inside this enemy folder and create a new one and call it data. And inside this data folder we are going to have a blueprint interface, so this, and we are going to call it BPI for blueprint interface enemy patrol, or just patrol, you can call it just BPI underscore patrol. Now inside enemy base and class settings, we are going to just implement this interface here. So under implemented interface, under class settings, we are just going to drop down and search BPI. and we have this interface implemented out here. We are going to open it, and we are going to have a function to get the current patrol route. So I'm going to call it as get patrol route, and it is going to have an output of type BP patrol route. So to call the output as route of type BP underscore patrol route object reference. Okay, wait, BP underscore patrol route of object reference. So this is the function, and now we are going to implement this function inside the BP enemy base. So here under this interfaces tab we can find our function right here. So if we double click on that, it's going to take us to the function, and what it will do is that it will basically return the patrol route. So with that, we have made the basic functionality of the patrol route, and we just need to implement it to the behavior tree of our AI right now. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go here, and inside the behavior tree, okay, I'm going to just remove this that we just previously made. We are going to use that later. So basically this is the chasing sequence that we had made, right? Now we need to make another sequence like this for patrolling, for the enemy patrolling. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to have a selector that is going to select between these two states. One is for the chasing that we have here, and one will be for the patrolling that we are going to make next. So I'm going to have another selector here, and then I will have a sequence. So basically this sequence is going to be our patrol sequence, and under this, firstly I'm going to make a behavior tree task. So that will be a new task, BTT blueprint base, and I will call it BTT underscore patrol along path. I'm going to right click, or we can just go here under override. We're going to get receive execute AI, and through this control pawn, previously we were just casting to BP enemy base, right? So we were using this BP enemy base, and then we were getting whatever we wanted through that. Now what we are going to do is that since we made an interface, we can just directly call that interface from here. So from control pawn, I am basically going to call this interface function that we had made, get patrol route. So that will return the patrol route, and we are going to call the functions inside patrol route through that. So I will go under this task again, and I will call that task get patrol route. So this is an interface function, and it will return the route, right? So here I'm going to firstly, through the route, I'm going to get the location. So I'm just going to call the function that we made, and this is the function, and it will return the location, and we just want the AI to move to that location. So I'm going to go here and call AI move to. This one. Before doing that, we need to know that whether this patrol route that we are getting is valid or not. So I'm just going to add is valid here, so that we don't get any access none errors. And here inside pawn, I will connect that, and under location I will set that as the destination. Now on success, we want to increment that point. So what we will do is that I will get the patrol route again and call increment patrol index. So this will be called on success and on failed. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to keep it here and organize this a bit. So down here, and after incrementing, I'm just going to finish this execute here and click success. So this is our basic movement task, and I'm going to compile, and now we are going to use this task inside this sequence. So I'm going to go here and call that task PTT patrol along path, and once it has reached a path, I'm going to just make the AI wait here. So just for a second, let's say. And I'm just going to disconnect this one right now so that we can test this out. You go here, I'm going to test this. So as you can see, it is basically moving along the path. So that is that. And basically once it reaches at the end, it should return back to its previous point. So it goes through all the points. Now one thing that we have noticed is that the enemy is basically accelerating at a quick pace, and we don't want that, and also it is braking before it is reaching the final point. So as you can see, it just slows down before it reaches that point, and then it reaches it. So we don't want that, we want it to go at a constant pace. So to do that, we can do one thing. Under character movement, there is a field called braking distance or something. So I'm just going to search it, and here it is. So use fixed braking distance. So we just need to untick that, and it will not have that deceleration that it was having previously. So now it is just moving at a constant pace from path to path. Also, it is moving a bit too fast. I don't want that. Basically the behavior that we need is that when it is patrolling, it is moving at a slower pace. When it is chasing, it is having a higher pace, and like that. So basically we need to create movement states for idle, jogging, walking, and chasing. So to do that, I want to create an enum. So what is an enum? Enum is basically an enumeration, or basically it is a type of variable that holds two types of value, name and a description. We don't want the description, we just want the names for that. So I'm going to go here under enumeration, I'm going to click on that and call it enum underscore movement speed. So here, as you can see, we can add enumerators as many as we want, and I'm going to add 4 right now. And here I will call those idle, walking, jogging, and chasing. So these are the 4 types that we are going to have, 4 types of movement speed. And inside PP enemy base, basically what we can do is that we can create a interface function again, so that it can be called through BP enemy. So I'm going to go under BPI patrol, I'm going to add another function and set it as get movement speed, and it will have a return node of speed of type float. So this will be float. Along with that, we will also have an input node, which will be the movement type that we are going to have. So it will be based on movement type enum that we just created. So movement type, and we just need to implement this in our enemy. So again, under interfaces, we are going to have that function. We're going to double click that, and here what we are going to do is that based on the movement type, I am going to have not select, but basically from speed we are going to have select float, right? Okay, not select float, it was just select. So select, and inside this index that we have, we are going to plug in this. And for idle, we are going to obviously have 0. For walking, we are going to have 250. For jogging, we are going to have 450, and for chasing, we will have 600. So this function will basically return the movement speed based on the movement type that we are having. So under behavior tree, we are going to have another task to set the movement speed. I'm going to call it btt underscore set movement speed, and here we are going to again have the receive execute AI. We are going to call that function that we just created, the control to get the movement speed. So I'm going to call get movement speed, and here I'm just going to promote this as a variable. I'm going to set it as movement type, and I'm going to expose it so that we can set it from our behavior tree. And then we have the speed. We are going to get our control pawn, get so we do have the speed. Now we just need to set our max speed as that. So to do that, we can just get our character movement and set max speed through that. So what I'm going to do is that I will do this, and I'm just going to get character movement and set our max walk speed through that. So set max walk speed. Here, and after it is set, we are going to just finish execute. I'm going to compile that, and this will set our movement speed for the movement type that we are going to input through behavior tree. So I'm going to set btt set movement speed here and set this type as walking. So this task gets called. It's going to set the movement speed as walking. It's going to move along the path and then wait for 1 second. So here along with that, what we can do is we can also do this. So what happens is that if we keep it later, then the AI will go to the first point at a fast pace, and then it will set its movement speed as the type that we are setting here, so walking. So it will set it as 250 after it reaches the first point. So it can be useful if the patrol path is away from the enemy. So on initialization, it goes to the first path quickly and then it moves slowly along the patrol path. So that looks great. Now what we need to do is that we need to switch between our basically switch between our two states of chasing and patrolling. So we need to do that. Also, along with that, we need to have a decorator that is going to check whether a valid patrol path is assigned to our enemy or not. So to do that, we need to create a new decorator. So btd blueprint base, I'm going to call it btd underscore check for valid route, and inside that I'm going to perform condition check, and here I'm going to basically get patrol route again. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to just check if that patrol route is valid or not. So, and pass this as our return node, and that will just check if we have a valid patrol point or not. So you're going to have that here, and decorator btd check for valid route, and if we do not have that, we are just going to wait out here. So yeah, now basically we need to set our two states. Right now we are going to do it manually, but later when we are going to add other stuff like perception and EQS, we are going to do it, the enemy is going to do it on its own. But right now, just for testing, we are going to add that through an input through our player character. So firstly, we need to create that state, and it's going to be an enum again. So under blueprint enumeration, I'm going to type enum underscore enemy states. So we are going to have several types of states. One will be idle, one will be chasing, then we are going to have patrolling, we will have one for investigating. So basically if the AI hears some sound or finds something suspicious, it is going to go there and investigate. So investigating, and then we are going to have a frozen state. So basically what it does is that if the enemy is hit reacting or is stunned, then it is going to set itself as frozen. And finally we are going to have a dead state. So these are the states that we are going to have, and now we just need a behavior Blackboard key to set those states. I'm going to go there and have a new enum and call it enemy state, and under this key type we are going to have the enum type of enemy states. I'm going to save that, and basically we are going to have a decorator that will select between these two, so this and this. So if we are going to have a Blackboard based condition, and if the enemy state is equal to chasing, it will be going through this whole section of states, and if it is set to patrolling, then it will basically do our patrol sequence. So add decorator Blackboard, and here I'm going to set it as enemy state is equal to patrolling. Along with that, we need to also set these two notify observers. Now what notify observer is that we are having two things. One is value change and one is result change. So if the key that we are using here is changed somehow, then it will re-evaluate the whole tree or just the branch as we are setting it through the observer. Now, difference between value change and result changes. Let's say the key is changed to a different value, then this whole thing gets re-evaluated on value change. But on result change, even if the key gets changed to the same value, it is still going to re-evaluate the whole sequence. So you're going to set it as result change and set it as both. So what it does is that in a result change, it is going to re-evaluate both the branches, and I am going to do the same thing here. Now we need to set this Blackboard key through our player. So I'm just going to Control P and search our player, BP player, and right now we are just going to use our one key on keyboard. So 1, and then on pressed we are going to have a flip-flop. Now basically what a flip-flop does is that it changes between A and B every time it is called. So once it is pressed, the first time it will call A, then it is pressed again, it will call B, and if it is pressed again, then it will call A. Basically it alternates between these two execution pins. So firstly we are going to change the value. So I'm going to do that through the behavior, through the BP player. Okay, I need to close some tabs right now, so I won't need this, I won't need this. So yeah, I want to just save everything, and here I will just basically I will just change the state through the BP enemy base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new function for that. I'm going to right click and custom event set. Okay, I'm not going to use events here, I would prefer functions right now. So I will set state to attack or chasing, and another one will be set state to patrolling. Now what it will do is basically the exact same thing that we did in here. Where was it? Yeah, under controller. So what we can do is that we can basically use these functions inside the controller instead of the enemy base. So I will just delete all that, and inside controller I will add those functions. So set state to chasing and set state to patrolling. And here I made these two functions different because inside patrolling we don't need the target actor, but inside when it is set to chasing we can just set the target actor through there. So here I'm just going to copy this here inside chasing, and along with that I'm going to copy this too, and from Blackboard I'm going to set value as enum. So the key name will be whatever we set the variable name here, so that is enemy state. So I'm going to set it as enemy state, and here I'm going to make the enum. So literal enum enemy state, yeah, this one, and I'm going to set it as chasing, and I will just copy this whole thing, and inside patrolling I will paste it here and set it as patrolling, and inside event graph I don't need this anymore. I won't be needing the delay as well. So this will be here, and I will set it to patrolling in the beginning. So if it is set to patrolling, if I hit play, we can see basically it is going into the patrol task first. And now if I set it to as chasing, and compile this and play, it will start the chase sequence that we just made. So next what we need to do is that firstly we need to remove that cast that we previously just made there. So what we can do here is inside get movement speed, we can basically, instead of doing this, we can directly set the speed here from the character movement and set max speed. So here, this one, and we can just set this as the return value that we have here. So that removes the cast that we had previously used. So here under the task that we had made for setting the movement speed, this one, we can just remove this whole thing and set the finish execute here. So that makes things easier. Next thing that we need to do is that we need to set our states through the player. Right now we will be just testing it out, so for testing purposes I'm going to use the one key on our keyboard and set the player enemy state through that. So inside BP player, the flip-flop that we had, so inside this flip-flop previously I'm going to just add a get actor of class, and I'm going to just select the class as BP enemy and set this as our state that we need to select. So firstly we need to set it as set so we need to get the AI controller for that, and through the AI controller I'm going to just cast it up to BP underscore enemy controller, and here I'm going to set the states that we set the functions that we just made inside the controller. So one for the patrolling and one for the chasing. So here set state to patrolling, this will be under B, and then under A we will be having set state to chasing. So if everything is alright, we can just test it out here. We can keep our tree open on our right side to see it work, and here, so as you can see it right now, it is patrolling, and if we press 1 it switches to our attacking state. Now one thing that you might have noticed is that if I press 1 again, it goes back to patrolling, but it doesn't clear the focus or unequips the weapon. So we are going to add that next. So here in the behavior tree. When the weapon equip is called, we want to set our focus towards the player or the attack target. So I'm going to create a sequence here instead of just a task. I'm going to set it here, and inside this sequence I'm going to set focus, and this will be our target actor. So that will basically focus the enemy towards the target actor when it is equipping the weapon. Next, inside here we need to create a similar function like this equipping function that we just made. I'm going to set it as weapon equip sequence, and here when the selector is called, we are going to have something similar to this, and I'm going to call it weapon unequip. So this will be called once if the weapon is equipped. So I am not going to inverse the condition here. So if the weapon is equipped, it is going to unequip the weapon. Also, instead of set focus, I want to clear focus, and additionally I want to do that here as well. So I'm going to call clear focus here. And I am going to create this wait node as a sequence as well, and also clear focus here. So that basically clears the focus if we are switching states from one to another. I'm going to save that, then minimize this, and now we are going to test it out. So it is moving along the path, and if I press 1, it is going to look at me, it is going to equip the weapon and then start attacking. And if I press 1 again, it will unequip the weapon, and it is causing some issue here. So I'm going to just check that. I am going to go inside the behavior tree again. So here's the behavior tree. Now basically it is looping inside this task constantly. So so here is the problem. So I called weapon equip, instead I want to call weapon unequip. So btt weapon unequip. So it will unequip the weapon and then it will move on. So if we check it, goes here, so it is the patrolling state, it is patrolling well, and if I press 1, it looks at me, equips the weapon, starts attacking, and if I press 1 again, it unequips the weapon and goes back to its patrol state. So that is one thing. And one last thing that we need to do is, basically when it is chasing us, I want it to abort the task, and on abort it should stop the movement as well. So right now if I play it, if I press 1, it will start chasing me, right? And if I keep running, and while it is chasing me, also one more thing that firstly we need to add inside the behavior tree is to set the movement speed for chasing. We haven't set that yet. So to set that, we are going to go here after clear focus, sorry, not this one, this tree here. So after clear focus, we are going to set the movement speed here. So set movement speed, and I'm going to set it as chasing. So here, so as I was saying, so let's say it is patrolling and then it starts attacking us. It is going to chase me down, and it is obviously going to wait for a while. After it attacks, it's going to chase me down, and Once it is near me, it will, wait, let me show it to you. So it's chasing me, and while it is chasing, if I change the state, it is still going to move towards me. So to prevent that from happening, what we need to do is, during the abort, we need to stop the movement immediately. So to do that, if we go inside our behavior tree, we go inside this task here. So right here. So if it is set to chasing, and it is basically switching from chasing to patrolling, and if the AI move to is working on it, then we basically need to abort that. So the issue that we are having right now is that if I switch it here, see, if you could see that the foot sliding right there. So it is going to the next point, and then it is starting to attack us. So to prevent that, we are going to go inside this task, and inside AI move to, what we need to do is we need to have an abort function. So here under functions, we have a receive abort AI. So this function is called when the action or the task is aborted. So what we need to do is we need to get the controller, and we need to call stop movement. So this will basically stop the AI from moving, and after that, just like finish execute, we have a finish abort, and we will call that. Now if we play, it is moving along the paths, and if I press 1 while it is moving, it is going to stop moving, and then it will start attacking us. And if I again press 1, it will go back to its previous state of patrolling, and it will continue patrolling from the path that it last left. So that is the basic state changing that we are going to have right now. Now that would be all for this video, guys. I hope you learned a lot from this, and on the next videos, what we are going to have is we are going to implement a perception system. So basically, if the AI is near us, it can see us, or it can even hear actions that we are doing, or we can add a damage perception. So if we hit the enemy, it can react according to that. So we are going to do all that in the upcoming videos. I hope this course is easy for you to understand, and this video was well enough. It was quite long, I know, but yeah, so that's it for today, guys. Thanks.